Welcome to this beginner's guide to Cisco Command Line Interface. In this video, we will go through the basics of Cisco Command Line Interface and how to get started with it. The Cisco Command Line Interface is a powerful tool used to configure and manage Cisco networking devices. Cisco switches have an operating system software. Cisco calls this OS the Internet Work Operating System IOS. The interface to configure the IOS is called the Command Line Interface CLI. To access the CLI, you can connect to your Cisco device physically using a console cable and a terminal emulation program like PuTY. There are two types of consoles, one that looks like an RJ45 port. You have to connect to this port using a serial cable. New computers do not come with serial ports anymore. Therefore, new Cisco switches and routers come with a USB console port. You can also access a switch or router using Telnet or SSH. But you can only do this after the switch or router has been configured with an IP address and so on. If you do not have physical devices, you can use network simulation tools like Packet Tracer. Another network simulation tool you can use is GNS3. This is my favorite, but if you are a beginner, I recommend you start with Packet Tracer. There are links in the video description on how to install the tools on Windows and Linux. When a switch or router boots up, it will take you into what is called the user mode. The user mode can be identified by the greater than sign. This mode will only enable the user to execute basic commands only, such as those that show the system's status. You can check the list of commands in this mode by entering a question mark and pressing enter. There is also another mode called the privileged mode or enable mode. This is a more powerful mode. We can view and change the configuration of the router from this mode. You can tell whether you are in user mode or privileged mode by looking at the prompt. The user mode prompt has a greater than symbol at the end. The privileged mode prompt always has a hashtag symbol at the end. You can enter a question mark and pressing enter to see all the commands available in this mode. Let me switch to the GNS3 network simulation tool and check out a router's command line interface. Even routers use the iOS. A number of commands used on switches can also be used on routers. This is one of the important commands that we'll use on a regular basis. The show running configuration command. This command will list the current configuration on your router or switch. If you enter part of command and press the tab key on your keyboard, the command will be completed for you. This command, you will get to see the switch or router's entire active configuration. You get to see the IP addresses, interfaces, routing protocols, and other settings. This command can only be used in privileged mode. There is also another mode called the global configuration mode. The global configuration mode is where you can make changes to the configuration of the router globally. To exit any mode, just type exit and press enter. To check commands you can use in the global configuration mode, just enter the question mark and press enter. If you press the up arrow or control plus the letter P, this will display the most recently command you used. If you press it again, the next most recent command appears. The down arrow or control plus the letter N will allow you to scroll backward through former commands. If you enter a command and a question mark, the system prompt displays a list of commands that you can enter next. This is a great feature that can help you complete a command when you have forgotten the full command. Let us try out one command and assume we only remember part of the command. What you can do is enter part of the command, then enter a question mark. It will display the full command. You can also just press the tab key like I did here. If you enter a command and there is more than one command that begins with those letters, it will give you this error. The debug command in Cisco is a powerful troubleshooting tool that allows network engineers and administrators to view real-time information about the operation of their Cisco networking devices. When enabled, the debug command generates detailed information about the internal operation of a Cisco device, including information about traffic flows, routing decisions, and device processes. The debug command can be used to troubleshoot a wide range of issues, such as network connectivity problems, device performance issues, and security incidents. It allows you to identify the root cause of problems and diagnose complex issues that cannot be resolved through other means. However, it is important to note that the debug command should be used with caution, as it can generate a large amount of output and consume significant system resources, which can impact device performance. Therefore, it should only be used when necessary and in a controlled environment, such as a lab or test network. You can change a Cisco switch or router's name by using the hostname command. This can only be done in the global configuration mode. When you practice a number of times with the command line, the navigation between modes will become natural. Using a line command will take you into the line configuration mode where you can configure the telnet lines, console port, and so on. Console configuration mode. If I want to set a password to the console port, I can do this. Next video, I will show you in details how to configure security on a Cisco switch or router. The interface command in Cisco is a powerful tool used to configure and manage network interfaces on Cisco devices. It allows network administrators and engineers to enter specific interface configuration mode and configure various settings, such as IP addresses, subnet masks, VLANs, and access control lists. 0 and 1 here refers to the interface number, where 0 represents the slot number and 1 represents the port number. If you want to exit a configuration mode, just type exit and press enter. In Cisco networking devices, the running configuration, or running config, refers to the configuration settings currently in use by the device, while the startup configuration, or startup config, refers to the configuration settings that will be used when the device is next booted up or restarted. To save any changes made to the running configuration and ensure that they are retained after the device is rebooted or restarted, you can use the copy running config startup config command. This command copies the current running configuration to the startup configuration file. Let us change the host name of the router, then check the startup config. You will see that the name won't change in the startup config until you save the configurations. Let me first check the running config. By the way, if you want to run a show command in the global config mode, start with the do command. If you are in the lab and want to delete the startup config, you can use this command. The disable command moves you from the enable mode to the user mode. If you run a command in the user mode that is supposed to be run in the enable mode, you will get this error. The quit command disconnects you from the command line session. The Cisco Command Line Interface is a powerful tool for configuring and managing Cisco devices. Although it can be intimidating for beginners, with some practice and understanding of the basic commands and structures, you will be able to configure your devices with ease. I hope this beginner's guide has provided you with a good starting point for using the Cisco Command Line Interface.